I'm going to make a certain effort to win this because I'm a little bit worried that our podcast is becoming a little bit like, and when I say this, I don't know whether it means that we're a BBC primetime television show or a 4 o'clock in the morning Dave show, but I feel like it's becoming a little bit like QI or Have I Got News for You, where it's a novelty when Alan Davis or Ian Hislop wins. So I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen.
Well,
can you stop eating?
We can do that as soon as John's finished chewing gravel.
Hi, I'm John, and I got an exotic splinter at work. It was made of carbon fibre.
And I'm John, and I introduced myself to my wife as Frank.
And I'm not John, and this is Would John Rather. It's true. He did. I'm not John, and this is Would John Rather, a podcast where I ask two people called John, would they rather questions, and then they answer. It's that straightforward.
Or at least it should be.
It should be. That's very true. Hopefully it will be this week. So, we'll dive right in as usual. Would you rather change one thing about yourself or change one law?
I will let you pick, as you said you wanted to win this episode.
Yeah, I got to have a really big think about this.
Or I could be a complete dick and steal the best one.
Which is the best one, though?
Well, I think I know which one's the best one.
So just do it.
You're going to have the same thought process as me.
No, I don't know which one the best one is.
Will someone pick?
I would change one thing about myself, and that would be the fact that I don't have wings.
Okay.
Like chicken wings in the fridge, or actual full size like condor wings?
Actually, it doesn't matter. Either way, my life gets incountably better. Either I've got tasty wings, or I've got what I initially thought that I was asking for, which is giant condor wings to fly around and pick up voles.
I bet you'd still use the tube.
Imagine how terrifying that would be if you were on the tube and somebody just got out their giant wings and flew down the carriage.
And then got them caught in the doors. That'd be a nuisance.
You know have you ever been in a house when a bird gets stuck inside? And that's scary enough. Imagine if it was person-sized.
That's you in almost every social situation anyway.
Just me flying around the room going, ah! I mean,
that is what it's like inviting you to a house party.
Just, you're waiting for John to arrive, and you just hear a thud, and you go, oh, John's flown into the window again.
I don't know why I've suddenly taken on all the characteristics of a bird, because I only asked for wings, but...
We discussed you a part owl earlier.
Yeah, so it's been my calling for a long time, ever since last week.
Episode like 3, we discussed you a parrot, like getting caught in your own reflection in the mirror. That's going back a few weeks.
The more we talk on this podcast, the more John is definitely part bird. So
John, I've got a problem. I've got loads of laws I want to change. Like I want to make fox hunting completely illegal. We were going through the village the other day, and there was a hunting party. So there was loads of hounds, and there was crazy people on horses wearing red coats, like stomping through the village. It's like, what is this? This is nonsense. This is barbaric. I don't know if they were on a scent hunt rather than an actual let's obliterate a fox type of thing. But no, it's not a fucking hobby. It really isn't. Oh, I'm practicing for the day that I can actually kill a real fox. When the Conservatives bring back that as a thing that I can do for my pastimes is ripping apart woodland animals.
Let's not encourage fanatics to start listening to our podcast to send us abusive messages about
people who fox hunt don't use the internet. Come on, let's be honest here.
If I had wings, I'd hunt down fox hunters And as soon as they started the hunt, I'd just fly over the fox and pick him up and fly him away.
And then eat him.
No.
Whoa.
Oh, nah. I don't think foxes would be as tasty as voles.
Although I would like to release wild, ravaged foxes that I've starved for 3-4 days into the houses of the people that do fox hunting when they're alone and they don't have a big crowded gang of hoodlums with horses and dogs, and then they'd have to try and defend themselves one-on-one with the fox. See how they get on then.
I like how you're allowed to change any one law, and you chose to ban something that's already been banned.
It's not banned because people still do it. My other option that I thought about was all the M roads, turn them into autobahns and getting rid of the speed limit. Because the people that want to drive at 100 miles an hour will always drive at 100 miles an hour anyway, and that's really frustrating when you're trying to drive normally.
That's one way of preserving wildlife. Remove speed limits.
Little idiots driving Audis wrap themselves around a lamppost rather than mow down innocent wildlife from country roads.
Okay.
Or I could introduce a stupid law like what is in if you go to the city of York, it is not how is it phrased? You can't put a man in prison for an Englishman shooting a Scotsman with a bow and arrow and killing him. So, being born in Aberdeen, I'm a little bit wary when I go to York, in case an Englishman comes out and shoots me with a bow and arrow, because he'd get away with it. So I could introduce a ridiculous law, if you're going to, Greenwich Park on the second Sunday of a month, you have to wear a poncho. Something ridiculous, something crazy, something that would go down as folklore and people would make a deal of it and this is cool,
Something that would be a
second
drain.
Sunday, it's poncho day at Greenwich Park.
Just something that would be a drain on the otherwise stretched law enforcement on this country, yeah?
Hey, I didn't say I had to be practical.
No, but you are trying to persuade me to say that you win the argument, so...
Yeah, with ponchos.
What sort of ponchos?
What sort of poncho do you want? I had a poncho made out of alpaca wool. It was brilliant. I don't know if the missus has been to or not, so I've been doing some searching in the cupboard. But I love that poncho. It's the one I bought in Leeds Festival.
I know the one you mean. So you're coming up with many examples.
I could make fly tipping punishable by death. There's enough crap that's been thrown in the countryside in hedgerows, and it's not fair. And there's a lot of sofas and fridges that get chucked into what people see as small turnings for fields. So that means the farmer then has to deal with all this crap that people have thrown away. So he gets tasked with disposing of other people's things properly. I don't think the punishment for polluting the countryside is harsh enough, because we're trying to clean up the oceans, but the people that are too lazy to go to the jolly tip, it's just not excusable. It really isn't. There is no excuse for it. People should be responsible.
Do you know what's become really popular these days? Is taking photographs with drones. You know what I'll never have to buy when I've got my wings? A drone. Drones really irritate people because they make a lot of buzzing noise. They irritate air traffic control if they fly too close to aeroplane space. But no, I'm not going to need a drone. I'm just going to fly and take great photos of landscapes from the sky.
So when they send out the drone catching hawks,
yeah, that'll be me.
They'll be attacking you, not the hawk.
No, I'll be the hawk.
When they fire their big net cannons at the drones to try and get them away from certain areas, they'll be firing a net cannon at you.
No, I'll be the hawk.
Catching drones with your feet.
He'll be employed by law enforcement.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm going to make flying human beings illegal. And you have to walk and catch the fucking train like everyone else.
You've got one. You're only allowed to change one law, and that's what you're going to choose.
I don't believe in unrestricted, aerial flight for people that aren't up to speed with the FAA and CAA regs. We've had a load of gliders just invade Works airspace at the moment because they're unpowered. All of our powered aircraft have to give way to them because they rely on thermals, and they've got to pick a path that keeps them in the air. So all of our aircraft, we're a training base, have got to leave them alone, just like let them go wherever they need to, which is apparently not go wherever you need to sustain flight. It's just go wherever the fuck you want. Doesn't matter whose toes you tread on, because you're a glider, you can get away with it. It's not right, and they barely contact air traffic as it is, let alone when there's loads of them up there. Just they're a law unto themselves, and it's not right.
Imagine if we applied the same law to cyclists. All people in motor cars had to not mow down and kill cyclists. That'd be great.
It would be.
Yeah, cyclists shouldn't be on the road. I think I've said it on this podcast before. A car going into a cyclist will cause a lot more damage than a cyclist going into a person.
A person died because a cyclist rode into them, and the guy was charged with something from the 1800s, which was riding recklessly through a town centre, because that was applied for horses.
Well,
but
anyway,
the thing is, the guy actually had no guilt, no remorse, and that's why he was charged.
Well, I'm going to call it. I'm going to go in favour of changing one thing about yourself. Not only because I like the way that John adapted that and gave himself the ability of flight, which I didn't expect, but also you're a bit flip-floppy, John, and knowing what you do for a living, why wouldn't you change the law of physics or the law of gravity?
Oh.
Because then the world would be in chaos.
You don't have
No
to change it.
That. People would end up flying. No one wants that.
I do.
And that is why I'm voting in favour of change one thing about yourself. Whenever you've got a law, you've got a loophole. So I would rather do something to benefit me than to potentially be hazardous to others. And also I want to see John flying around picking up foxes and throwing them at drones. John wins!
Yeah!
Tweet to us.
Is that too much of a novelty?
No?
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just making sure this isn't like when Alan Davis wins.
No, I think it is probably if we went back and somebody go back and let us know what the overall score is. Now we're on episode 19. Tweet at us, let us know who's winning, John or John, or if neither of them are winning. Would John rather? Would Jay rather? Let us know.
Hashtag podcasts have no winners. Nobody wins.
Or just let us know what you change about yourself or what law you'd change.
If people could message me directly on my Twitter handle of John, Jon, would rather, give me a particularly awkward question for not John, because I'm trying to think of ones that I think are amazing, but I can only come up with like one really good question, and then the rather bit is a little bit lacking. So I want someone that's got a solid double punch. I want something to be able to throw into the mix that A is coming from a viewer, and B has equal amounts of weight on both sides of the rather section.
That was a lengthy explanation about what a good would you rather question should be.
And how yours are not.
As we will see later.
And my preferred method of communication this week is if you could send a message in a bottle. Just chuck it in whatever river or ocean you're near. That's what everyone else seems to do.
I thought you were going to say carry a pigeon.
No, don't throw bottles at pigeons.
Just write your message in the bottle.
Write your message on a pigeon and throw it in the ocean.
In a bottle. Put the pigeon in the bottle. Make sure it's a big bottle so it's got a lot of space to exercise and feed.
Poke holes in it so it can still breathe.
Yeah.
What? Pigeon breathe through its neck because you stabbed it?
Yeah. Anyway, would you rather only be able to use tables or chairs?
Only you'd be able to use tables. Because would you be able to use like a desk or a workbench as a table? Because I do some breaking down of components and I need a workspace to do it on, and I just physically couldn't do it standing up or like on the floor. It just wouldn't work. So even if you go into things like eating, I wouldn't want to eat off my lap. I'd rather stand up and eat like I would do at like a bar at a pub. I'm not too proud to not sit on the floor. I camp loads, sit on the floor is part of that because as much as I've got chairs, I quite like sitting on grass. It lets me feel one with nature and all that nonsense.
I think there's been too many tables. I don't like how tables got turned into a times tables.
Periodic table.
The
periodic table. Useful.
Periodic table. It's all about reciting things. They're dead boring.
It's all about reciting the basics of everything that we understand, like elements and numbers.
Yeah, not interested.
You know what I've heard? You know I've heard of a way of killing murderers and rapists and people that generally deserve the death penalty is the electric chair. I've not heard of an electric table.
Yeah, but
electric chair doesn't sound fun. Sounds painful.
Yeah, but that's how they killed the lion in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is on a big table.
Sure, it wasn't a plinth.
No, it was a table.
Okay,
so
in a book that's pure fiction.
Yeah, so I'm just saying it's just as easy to die on a table, an operating table. Probably quite likely to die on that if you get a bad surgeon.
Yeah, but could you operate while someone's sat on a chair?
You could have some bloods taken.
And that's about all you could do. So a table's way more useful than a chair.
If you want to be cut open.
Sometimes you need to be.
Yeah, well, right now I do not. Right now I just want to have a comfy chair, a nice lazy lounger, wingback chair, or something, one of those gamer chairs.
I wish this had gone the other way around, because I love the idea of John, who's pro chairs, going in for an interview or meeting his partner's parents for the first time and going in and going, "Oh, do you take a seat?" And him just going, "No." Because knowing him as well as we do, he would panic and not know how to explain that he can't. He just go, no.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's another reason. When somebody says take a seat, I don't want to flop out over the table. I need to sit down on a chair.
Well, what you could do is use like a really lame excuse and just go, "Oh, no, my Seattle is playing. I'll just stand if that's all right." And people will go, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I understand." If you go into like a workspace and they're like, "Okay, so John, this is your desk. This is where you'll be," and you'll be like, "Any chance you could put my monitor on one chair, my keyboard on another, and then my printer? Could you put that on like a little like milkmaid stool with like one with 3 feet on it?" And
be like that scene in Family Guy where this Peter forgets how to sit down and he walks towards the armchair and then just dives at the chair and falls on the floor.
But imagine never being able. You'd not be able to use most forms of transport. You couldn't use a car. You couldn't use. Well, I suppose you could stand on the train, but that's one of the worst things that you can do. And you wouldn't be allowed to use a aeroplane because you legally have to be sitting down when it takes off. I want to visit places. I don't want to have to roll around on a table.
That's fine, but the little flip-down tables on the back of the seats in front of you on a plane?
The ones that invariably spill stuff on you, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd like to see you tell your lovely wife and go, "No, don't worry, I don't need a flip-down table," and have your 1,000,000 degrees shepherd's pie burning its way like thermite through your thighs while you're trying to perch your Jack Daniels and Coke on your other kneecap. I'd find that very amusing. In fact, I'd be a flight safety risk and try and hide in the toilets while standing up until the plane's taken off, just so I could see that shepherd's pie burning its way through the top of your quads. And you were smiling politely like, "Yeah, this is fine, because actually we're going to Peru."
You wouldn't be allowed to sit down on the toilet though, because that's a seat.
No, I'd be standing up in the cubicle. They'd be fine.
I mean, there's various ways around everything you just said, John. I mean, first of all, you don't get a car, you get a motorbike. That's not a chair. So personal transport sorted. Train, as you said.
Motorbikes are dangerous. Motorbikes are dangerous.
but it's not a chair, and it's a method of transport. And on the plane, I would just get a full
Business
body
class ticket and lie down.
or one of those like full body cast type things, but just get it from the waist down and just say, oh, I can't sit down because of medical reasons. I need to be able to stood up. And they'd be like, yeah.
Or I'd just go to business class and get a bed and just lie down in that.
I don't know if you're allowed to fly when you've got a broken leg.
I can do what the fuck I want, John. Deal with it.
Not if your doctor forbids it. Get like...
What if I've got a fake cast?
Deep vein thrombosis.
Old people get that.
Yeah, and people who have casts on their legs get blood clots. It's a real thing.
And you can get blood clots from sitting down for too long. If I'm standing up, I'm moving, I'm circulating blood, I'll be alright.
There'd be a way around it. In worst case scenario, you just don't fly anywhere. You get ferries and boats and things.
It's very time consuming though.
Only if you want to go particularly far distances. I'm not that bothered about travelling and seeing the world. I've got many things in this country to see before I decide that it's wank and need to go abroad.
Well, my last holiday was to New Zealand, which is literally as far away as you can get from the UK. So definitely not with you on that.
I think Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong might disagree with you.
But while staying on the planet, obviously.
Okay, I'm just, be a bit more specific, please.
Come on, Matt, let's face it, that wasn't a holiday, that was a work trip.
They put it down on travel expenses.
Did you know that Buzz Aldrin actually did claim travel expenses for going to the moon?
Huh.
I will find. There is a genuine invoice for his expenses, and he's like, oh, I needed half tank of fuel to get here.
To get to the rocket.
To get to the rocket, and then I went to the moon, so I had to claim parking or something from NASA. But there is a genuine business expense that involves because I went to the fucking moon.
Please share that. Share that on your Twitter because I want to see it.
I will find it, and if anyone else on Twitter finds it first, please. Mine is @JohnWoodRather, JON. Please find it. And for all the people that didn't believe that we went to the moon, we've been through the Flat Earth episode, so go listen to that, and also go fuck yourself.
I reckon Buzz Aldrin sat down during their flight to the moon, and I reckon he sat down in a chair. So if you ever want to go to the moon, gonna need a chair.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote in favour of tables. I just think you need a table for so much more than you need a chair for. Chairs didn't exist. I'm quite certain that tables existed before chairs, and I tend to sit on the floor quite often. I'm not opposed to sitting on the floor, whereas not having a table, that makes things a lot more difficult. And yeah, why sit in a chair when you can lay in bed? Or you could get one of those really funky stools that is a fold-outable stool, and just take that everywhere with you. Would you like a seat?
It didn't say you could have stools. I was just avoiding all sitting down.
No, but I said you can't have chairs.
Ah.
Would you like a seat? No thanks, I brought my own. Tables wins.
Boom. Okay, I'm going to go search through my big long list because I believe it's time for me to ask you a question.
Probably.
Would you rather have crab claws or tentacles for hands?
Do I just have one big tentacle on each hand?
Yes.
Either way, tentacles. Because I've basically got the choice between being able to grab things or snip things. And if I want to hold something, it's because I want to hold it, not because I want to snip it. Otherwise, I'd carry scissors around everywhere with me.
Miss Scissorhands did an okay job of that.
Never saw it all the way through.
Oh.
So I wouldn't know. But yeah, tentacle hands just think would be more useful. And I'd have those little suction cups that I could use to help me stick to things better. So it'd be I'd still be able to type just a bit slower. Mind you, I could with crab claws. But
I did the one finger typing things like people over 50 do.
yeah, but you'd have to do that with crab claws anyway. How am I supposed to eat dinner with claws? But with tentacles, just the same. Just the same. Hold on to my knife and fork. Carry on going. Be able to write. Easy peasy. Trying to take notes when I'm making a podcast. Pick up my pen. Clip half. Need to get another pen. Clip half. Trying to carry a basket of shopping in the supermarket. I've broken the basket again. Trying to hold my partner's hand. She's going to need surgery.
We're talking about crab claws, not bolt cutters.
Yeah, but
you have ability to like adjust the pressure. It's not open or 6,000 psi.
You're underestimating just how much I would work these crab claws out if I had to have them.
Knowing how long you were single, you'd be a fucking fiddler crab.
I would. Yeah. Yeah, no, tentacles sounds like it'd be much more interesting. And it's got...
You're good at rock climbing.
Yeah. Rock climbing.
You're just going to climb this glass today.
You still be able to do DIY. It's just the ability to grab and actually hold on to something. Whereas claws, fair enough, might not snip it in half, but I still wouldn't really have very good purchase.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I could see that.
So I just see no benefit to having crab claws ever, unless no.
Unless you're a character in Mortal Kombat.
But even then, surely tentacles is going to be more beneficial.
You could snip a tentacle off with a crab claw.
Yeah.
And then what you got? Stumps.
But I'm not fighting somebody with crab claws.
But I was saying if you're in Mortal Kombat, you would be.
But I'm not. I'm just me in a world with tentacle hands.
Would you have to keep your tentacles moisturised to make the suckers work? Because I don't think octopuses do too well when they dry out.
Octopi. Sorry,
I should know that.
And they haven't got to stay submerged because they come out on land quite often. But I'd imagine I'd have to keep them fairly. I'd just have a little dish of water next to my computer.
Giving people wet handshakes all the time?
That's fine.
So if you're not the one receiving a wet handshake, it's not that bad.
I suppose, yeah, it's true.
I haven't really got much else to say on the matter. I think it's very
You were very yeah.
Yeah, you've made your views clear on that.
I genuinely can't think of a single benefit to having crab claws instead of tentacles for hands. If anyone has, let me know, because I'm drawing a blank.
You would never need a tin opener.
You could say you're stumped.
I could. I'm not going to.
Because he doesn't have stumps, he has tentacles.
Oh, I was trying to... Never mind.
We all know what you were trying to do.
Come on, John, you need to put your finger on the pulse of this podcast. We moved on.
I couldn't share less what you think. Damn, just used up my last pun. Didn't get a single reaction.
Well,
I gave you a head shake. That doesn't translate well to the audio form.
It does not.
Well, me and my chums here, I think, are done for this week. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Would John Rather?
A podcast where we debate stuff and never find out who the real winner is.
The real winner's the listener.
Yay!
It's been cherry nice to see you.
So now the world knows you're a liar. Said you had no more puns left, and there you go again.
You said it's been nice to meet you. You don't like people. You take your ability to use a chair and put it in the corner and sit on it and just ignore everyone else.
Talent well used.
So, Matt, what's this special announcement you've got planned for next episode?
Yes. Well, it's not so much a special announcement for the next episode. More, we'll be taking a week off next week because unfortunately John's decided to go on holiday without giving us any prior warning. So going to have to delay episode 20 by a week. So don't tune in next Monday because there won't be anything to listen to. I do apologise on behalf of me and at least one of the Johns.
Is that all he's got to say on the matter?
Anything to say, John?
The audacity.
Obviously not. Well, apologies anyway from two of us. We'll see you in a fortnight.
I hope you enjoy our hiatus, and I hope you enjoy it when we get the band back together.
I've been John, and I'm going to go have a sit down. Cheerio.
And I'm John. I'm going to sit at my table and build Lego.
And I'm not John. This has been Wood John Rather. Thanks for listening. We'll see you all next week. Buongiorno.